All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I am Jeremy Lewinowitz. I will be leading our call today. As far as I know, I don't think we have any pre-submitted questions today. I'll double check that though, just to be sure. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and I'd be happy to take a look and do my best. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. All right. We do have one question in the chat, so we will start with that in a second. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask away, and I'll be happy to do my best. I'll do the obligatory pointing out a couple really nice things if you want to check them out with the Solutions Marketplace and our support YouTube channel. So the Decision Support YouTube channel, great place. We are uploading things to keep track of stuff like the daily lunch and learns. You can take a look back on any lunch and learns. If you asked a question or are curious about maybe questions that got asked, you can always check those out. We've also been updating this channel with a number of other videos, some content that we're trying to keep up, at least a video a week. Just about some different interesting concepts. So we had database views recently. We got report views and what those are and how to make them and things like that. We've also been doing and starting a new series that we're going for with steps, so-called step by step, focus on individual steps and a lot of what you can build with them, how they look, different things like that you can do with single steps. You can always check out our Decisions Marketplace, marketplace.decisions.com. This is a great place to just check out some different pre-made applications and to try out making and manipulating them. See if maybe this is something interesting for you, or you have any of these, like an email template generator or something that you may find useful. So you can definitely check this out. Um, and yeah, one last thing to, also a good suggestion, decisions.com/events. If you are interested in checking out any of our special events, we are currently have a Submerse happening right now in Virginia Beach. So a large number of people are visiting that area for this. And then we have other upcoming ones as well, like a Submerse event in Singapore, as well as a virtual Submerse in October. So those will both be happening in October, and other things, webinars and other things you can also check out. So definitely check out our website for that information. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look um, at these questions that we've got. So we got one question from Andy. I'll unmute you, Andy, in case you want to add anything, but I will read it out loud for the YouTube video and just so everyone else can hear it. And so I created a list of data. The data structure is Oracle table definition. Now I need to update a few columns in the list before I insert the list into the database. So there are some items added to the list earlier. I use a loop, then some create data step, input, choose, select from flow, pick the list, and I choose output done and expose properties for the fields which I don't want to change. I use pass through for the ones I want for the ones I don't want to change, I use pass through. For the ones I want to change, I select change value. When I debug the flow, the values are not changed. Is expose properties the right way to do it? Let me just open up a flow real quick. My initial thought on reading your description, Andy, is that there shouldn't be a problem with exposed properties. Um, Exposed properties is kind of like build data, just on the um, output instead of the input. So if I create something like this, and whether this is accounts or not, list or not, right? On inputs, I have the ability to do build data, right? And then build data will allow me to pick between a bunch of different properties, right? That are all making up this item. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a complex data type. Build data will be made up of all the different possible items that make up this piece of data. So that's here. But since there's a lot in accounts, it gives me this drop down to choose them. If it's not too much, they'll just appear right there. Um, Exposed properties is exactly the same as build data. It's just on the output instead of the input. So, whatever it is, wherever this is coming from, it should just be the same exact thing, right? I can still see all the same account ID, parent folder, whatever. This is all the same exact information that I should see in build data. It's just on the output. So then I can specifically choose only to output certain items. Or like in your case, right, change value of specific items. So if I want to change the value of the middle name, obviously I could do that, with, whatever that is. And find the value here, go ahead and pick it, and then change the value of that item. So there. And now whatever gets created in this create data step will change that specific account's middle name. That works kind of as you said that, and as you described. So wherever it's coming from, it shouldn't be a problem with using exposed properties. Exposed properties is a great way to specify which items from this output you want to actually change, and do the change value of. I think the question, if you're not seeing it actually persist, and you're not actually seeing that data, is maybe where you're getting where are you looking at the data, and are you trying to save it somewhere? That might be my guess or thought process is like, now that I've used this, and like made a change, like, am I actually saving it or am I using it somewhere? That kind of thing. Like if I choose this, right? It's running slow for me today for some reason. Decision. My apologies. I'm expecting it to struggle this much right now. All right. Well, let me talk through what I was going to try to display, and maybe see if this will kind of, if anything will stick out to you, Andy. So we're at least not sitting here doing nothing.
I
Um,
can I can drive for a second if you want, Jeremy, if you want to just
yeah.
direct me.
Why don't you just go ahead?
Yeah, let me just swap
That'd
my
be
screen real
helpful.
quick. Yeah, man. You gotta drive me here. Give me a second here, pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you want to stop share? Yes. Okay, right here, right there. Let me log in as an admin. All right, cool. Let's do it, man.
All right, yeah. Go ahead and just open the flow or create a quick flow,
All right.
and we'll just do the same thing, like a quick create data and a quick pop up.
All right.
Create data. Just create an account. Something that's for account,
All right.
and then on the input, um, uh, do like a build data and grab the middle name. Should be at the bottom.
Middle name.
Yep.
All
And
right.
then on outputs, uh, expose properties, and then we'll just ignore everything, go down to middle name
Mm-hmm.
and change value. And we're gonna do, yeah, flow data, current account, middle name.
Even though my account isn't, I don't have a middle name on my actual
Yep,
account
that's
right now.
fine. I'm
All
not
right, cool.
actually doing anything. I just want to see if it'll show. And then on the create, one more thing on the create data.
Mm-hmm.
For that middle name on the inputs, just give it a constant and just put it something.
All right.
Okay. And then on the show pop-up, just pull from the current user's middle name, like a select from flow. Yeah. And then select from flow, flow data.
Oh, I see what we're doing. Apologies. Okay, cool. User, we're looking for account structure right here, right? The middle name,
Hmm.
something like that.
Yep. And I'll just run this and we should hopefully see,
Nice.
right? So like this is just kind of demonstrating, right? In this moment, like it's creating that data and changing the value of the account, whatever, to have that middle name there. And if Robert, if you run this one more time, but
Hmm.
just detach it from that create data step and just send it straight to the show pop-up, now this should grab your unchanged middle name. See, that looks like it actually saved. I didn't think it should save.
On
Oh,
change
maybe it
value,
doesn't.
yeah, changing value will save back to the database.
Interesting. I thought in most cases it normally doesn't unless you specifically.
Well, if you well, yeah, we're changing the value,
In
so
most cases, in most cases, this change value is changing the temporary variable item. Maybe just because we specifically changed like a value that's already like saved or set in the database or whatever with accounts that might have been different. Um, but typically, right, if you're changing the value of some data point, Andy, that's like uh Yeah, yeah, I see what I see it in your comment, right? You instead of your input and create data, you're selecting from the flow and grabbing some kind of existing list, right? Normally, changing value on some existing item or whatever doesn't actually save that item perpetually. It will just save it in the moment, right? I think maybe what I had Robert just test here maybe because we're editing like an actual account, it saved it or persisted, but normally it won't persist. It'll just temporarily replace that variable with the value that you changed it to. And so then typically you need something that's going to actually set it or save it somewhere if you're trying to, like, for example, update a value that's in a database. Typically you'll need some kind of save entities or, update XYZ database step to actually have it save, as opposed to, just replacing that value temporarily. Um, so my guess it's not the exposed property that's wrong. I think your exposed properties, the way that you describe that in the when what I read makes sense to me, right? You want to pass through, ignore whatever certain ones, fields that you don't want to change. You want to change the value on these specific properties for the ones that you do want to change. Then I think after that, typically you might want some kind of um, like you need a way to actually make sure that it is saving. Depending on where that data is coming from, where that variable is, and where it's being housed, I think it may sometimes not actually override and officially save it. It may override it temporarily, if that makes sense. That's what I was going to try to show, but I think I picked the wrong thing. Does that make sense? So I think if you're not seeing it actually save or input the data that you're looking at, then there's something else that you're not actually like saving properly. And yeah, so maybe kind of like poke around with that a little bit. Hopefully that'll lead you in the right direction. And then if not, then you may need to reach out to get a little bit more assistance on why it's not grabbing exactly what you want. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help, or at least try my best to help. And thank you, Robert, for driving that for a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was just looking into it. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't give the clear definition. It does say it's updating existing data that matches the data type to the field, but it doesn't say how long it persists.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think that might be the key there. It depends on where that data actually is coming from. If it's just like a simple something that was created in a flow or in a previous flow and isn't actually on the whole database level, it might not even actually change that perpetually. Like, I think this financial lending project, for example, is a case entity, and if you change the value
it
within that
does.
case entity, it
Yeah,
will save it
true.
because
Okay,
that's
okay,
like
okay.
on the database level. But if you're choosing a variable that's just like a regular variable that got created, a list of data that got created, and you change the value on that list, if that
Ah,
list isn't already saved in a database or
true.
something like that,
Correct.
then it'll maybe change it for the moment, but then once that flow's done, it'll be gone
Right.
unless you specifically put it somewhere, save it somewhere, cache, you
Right.
can use caching, whatever, like things like that.
And we kind of do that in that same project as you are right. That brings clarity to me as well. Because we do that also in that same project when we're calculating the score, we change value every time it hits. But then
Yes,
that thing doesn't persist outside of that flow because it's not a part of a structure. It's just a named variable.
right.
Like we do
Yeah,
that
that's
in
that's what I was going for.
yeah. Yeah. So you're both, I guess because I was initially thinking like, I know that we do the change value on the interest rates and all that because it's a part of that structure. It's a part of the case entity, but you are right. We also do it here and it doesn't say that, anywhere. It doesn't like reference, it's in the rule set.
Yeah, because all of
Um,
that is just changing a temporary variable that we're using until we get our final result.
yeah.
And then our final result is what we actually,
We're
take
not
and
even
place
changing the
somewhere.
value on this one, but yeah, raises this
Probably
one.
the add one
Yeah, there it
region,
is.
but
Yeah,
yeah, there.
exactly. Yeah. So,
That's a completely temporary variable. So if you're
yeah.
not careful with that, you might be losing data. Making sure that you're actually changing value of things that you want to save. And if you're changing something temporary, then you have to go a little extra step to then take that data and save it. Good question. Any other questions? So far, that was the only question I've seen today. So if we have nothing else, we can move on for now. Any other questions? All right. Well then, if we have nothing else, then I think we can call our meeting early. We don't have a lot of people in the call today. I think just one of those slow weeks. So we will go ahead and call our video early. Thank you for joining. Thanks for the questions. And we will see you all tomorrow with me again. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.